So one of the most common excuses I hear why guys aren't going to level up their style, they're worried about what other people are going to think of them. And I get it. Human beings are social. We don't want to be an outcast. We want to be approved by others. But here's the thing. On the journey to becoming a better man, you are going to ruffle some feathers. Some people just are not going to approve of your new choices. In today's video, we're talking about how to stop caring about what other people think about you so that you can become the man you know yourself to be. So first up, and this is going to hurt your ego, understand that most people don't care about you. Seriously, they're focused in on themselves. And this is a very natural human trait. In fact, Ayn Rand, she talked about this in The Virtue of Selfishness. But basically, human beings are always looking out for their own interests. Now, of course, there are exceptions and there are variances in the levels of how people care for each other. Your parents probably care for you. I know I care for my kids, for my family, for my close friends. And it's those people who you actually want to be listening to. Unfortunately, though, most of us have a bad habit of giving equal weight, in fact, sometimes even more weight, to the outside opinions of people that don't even matter. You know what I'm talking about. You're hesitant to dress up, to go out with your girlfriend because, oh, you're worried about what your friends are going to say. Now, your friends may give you a little bit of crap because you're dressing up for this new woman in your life, but what they don't know is what you see in her and you guys together and your future. And this is something where, hey guys, I'm taking this seriously. I really want to show her a great time, and it's about setting up the ambience. You guys may laugh at me, but I'm not going to worry about it. And that's what I want to see, is you starting to build up the confidence to send the message you want to send with your clothing and with your image. When it comes down to it, people are focused in on themselves, their own problems, their own issues. And a lot of times people like to lash out at somebody else that's changing something up in their world. So if you're in a group of friends and all of a sudden you're starting to level up your style, all of a sudden they realize, man, I got to step up my game, and they may attack you a bit, not because they want you really to dress down. They just simply are scared themselves that they need to step up their own game. And what about the opinions of complete strangers? Should you care what they think? Well, here's the thing. Are they qualified to actually give you good advice? If you get some style icon, let's say Tom Ford, and he's giving you advice on the way you're dressing, yeah, probably listen to him. But if it's just some random person who you look at and you're not impressed with the way they're presenting themselves, maybe you should, I'll go ahead, yes, that's nice, but I'm going to dress the way I want to. The next tip to stop caring about what other people think of you, think to yourself, what is the worst thing that can happen here? So let's say you want to take some dance classes. You've been going to the country western bar. You're tired of sitting over on the side watching all the other guys dance with the ladies. Or maybe you're into ballroom dancing. You've never done anything like this. You're really worried you're going to show up there and make a complete fool of yourself. And this is the thing. Our imaginations go wild with all the disasters that can happen, which seem to never happen. Human beings have a natural tendency to overemphasize the negative. This has actually helped us survive, and it's something, if you think the vast majority of a person's thoughts have been shown by science to actually be negative. But when you realize you're not your thoughts, you are the actions that you take, all of a sudden you realize, okay, worst case scenario, I mess up a bit, but you know what? It is worth the win. It is worth the reward. Now, gents, if you take nothing else from this video, I want you to take this one point, and that is people, the way that they see you, the way they react to you is a reflection of them. We all are different. All of us have a different viewpoint. We're looking at things from a different angle. And so we see things very differently. And so whenever you're changing things up, when you're trying to improve your style, when you're trying to improve the way that you're, the skills you're picking up, understand that some people are going to view that in a negative way. That's just naturally where they're at. They're going to view almost everything in a negative way. Point is, when you understand that it's not really about you, it's about them when they're spouting their opinion, when they're throwing out why they don't like this or why they love it, all of a sudden you realize, okay, I want to surround myself with people that in general are positive. Of course, you want some people that are going to be able to give you constructive, critical feedback. That's very different than people that just attack for no reason. Those people in a dark, alone place, I just feel bad for them. And understand that they are out there. So remember, gents, to focus in on not the things that you can't control, such as someone's opinion, but the things that you can control. Yourself, the direction you're bearing, and then the steps, the actions you take every day to go in that direction. Now, this next tip is really powerful, and basically you need to time travel. You need to go into the future and imagine, how would my future self, looking at the decision I'm about to make, what would they tell me to do? And this one right here, it is going to point you in the right direction, especially if you've got a good vision of where you want to be. Let's say you want to be a published author within a year. And you've got a decision tonight. Do you go out and party with your friends? That means you guys are going to be out for 6 hours, having a great time, but you will be recovering all day tomorrow. Or do you stay in and do you spend 4 to 5 hours tonight working on that book? And you wake up first thing tomorrow morning and you spend another 4 to 5 hours. You know this is what you want to do, but you want to justify going out with your friends. But what does your future self say? You know what they're going to say. They're going to say, hey, if you want to be like me, you want to be this published author, you've got to sacrifice at this point. Yes, there will be plenty of time later to party and to have fun. Consult your future self. What would they tell you to do? Because perhaps you have worked too hard. Perhaps you do need to go spend more time with your family. I'm not saying don't go out and party, but what I am saying is make sure to consult with that man you know yourself to be in the future and get a little bit of advice, a little bit of feedback. And now let's talk about knowing your why. So I talked about that man in the future, the man you know yourself to be. You're maybe a couple years out. Maybe you are 10 years out from this person. But how does he dress? How does he act? What thoughts go through his head? How does he eat? This is where, when you understand why you're doing what you're doing, you're going to have the strength to do it because you're going to face obstacles every single day, every single week, every single month. Our brains want to rationalize us to make bad decisions. We're oftentimes surrounded by people who love us, who want to support us, but they also want us to go with them to do these things. They want to pull us away from our goals, not necessarily knowing that they're actually doing it. And here's the thing. When you know your why, you know what you stand for, you have a clear vision of where you want to be. All of a sudden, it's much easier to go in that direction. There's a story about a man lost out in the snow, and he's walking circles because he can see his own steps. What he does is he picks a point out there in the direction. This is basically, it helps him set his bearing, and he's able to walk a straight path in the snow in the direction. Of course, hills are going to throw you off. You're going to occasionally lose your bearing, but if you've got that North Star, if you have that vision of what you're shooting for me, I know I've got a home that I want to build for my family, kind of like a little bit of a compound, a fortress, and yes, with a lot of land, and this keeps me going. When I know I want to put in the extra hours, when I'm trying to work on that project because I know I want to make a little bit more money to be able to monetize that so that I can put money away and become the patriarch that my great-great-grandkids are going to talk about. Things like that get me excited, and I know that that's one of my big drivers. Of course, I've got smaller goals. I've got tons of this stuff laid out, but it's very crystal clear on the direction I'm taking. And some mornings it's more crystal clear than others. So I do try to take that time to think. But when you understand your why, you're able to go in the right direction. So what to watch next? How about a great foundation video on the 3 things that matter? Fit, fabric, and function. Check out my style pyramid video right here, guys. A great foundation video every man needs to watch.